The news starts now.
And good afternoon. The University of Houston has been named one of the best values for higher education.
But you probably didn't know it tops both Texas A&M and UT Austin when it comes to the cost of tuition. Jason Miles is live on campus with more on the story. Jason?
Hey there, guys. This kind of surprised a lot of people today because many hold those other schools to some sort of higher standard, but the higher tuition is right here. University of Houston sophomore Syed Al-Mizad paid $20 for his UH t-shirt, and he always assumed he paid less in tuition than students at UT or Texas A&M.
I guess those colleges are more, I think, like more prestigious.
But according to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, UH is tops in tuition. Take a look. The total annual cost, including room and board, is nearly $29,000. A&M is just over $27,000, and UT Austin is even less at $25,134.
If you say this place is more expensive, then that's a little mind-blowing.
Senior Michael Sullivan doesn't live on campus and pays about $15,000 a year.
About $5,000 every semester.
Data shows only about 7,000 of UH's 45,000 students live on campus, so most never come close to spending that top tuition. Paloma La Perona also pays considerably less.
Everything else is probably $19,000.
Regardless, UH tuition has gone up some 60% in the last decade or so.
I don't want to blame the legislature,
but Vice Chancellor Jason Smith says a decision to deregulate tuition made the difference. As a result, UH gets 26 times less than UT from a multi-billion-dollar endowment fund.
What happened is you put more stress on the university to keep up with the needs from tuition rather than getting supplemented from taxpayer dollars from the states.
Smith says students like Al-Mizad still leave UH with less debt than those other schools.
Do you still think it's a pretty good value?
Yes, it is.
And you may not realize it, but UH is a majority-minority campus. Officials say that exposes students to more culture, which is something money can't really buy. Guys?
Jason, real quick here, U of H is also building a medical school, so will tuition go up again to cover those costs?
That was definitely big news recently, but officials tell me the money for the medical school will come from a different fund, but that does not mean that tuition won't take another hike at some point.
All right, Jason, thank you for the information. U of H is growing up before our eyes, so to speak.
Is. All right. Now this, HISD is having to deal with a $208 million shortfall for the next school year, and that may mean teacher cuts. Sherman Chow is at HISD headquarters where the trustees have been getting a breakdown of the tough news.
And Sherman, I wonder, does Hurricane Harvey have anything to do with this?
Yeah, but it's not the only one. Now, as far as property damage goes, well, HISD will be getting reimbursements from insurance, from FEMA, and government funding. But like a lot of people, they don't have that money yet. They don't know how much it's going to be, and they don't know if it's going to be enough. So HISD, like regular folks, will pay out of pocket first, then wait for reimbursement. And it turns out the cleanup and replacing 4 entire campuses aren't the biggest headaches. The longer-term impact, reduced tax revenues from reduced property values after Harvey. The other big hit, fewer students. HISD expects next school year that students may be moving out of HISD. And remember, the district gets state funding per student. So it's too early to tell what those numbers will be, and HISD superintendent says that there are also a lot of campuses who have a lot while others don't have very much.
We are applying an equity lens to how we're going to ensure next year that every community in this district has at the very minimum a robust school.
So there may be some recalibrating going on there. The other element of the budget shortfall is recapture. HISD is a, quote, rich district, which must pay out tax dollars to poor districts. And Carranza warns that bill is only going to get larger. He estimates that in 2 years, HISD will be paying out $500 million in recapture monies. That is tough news for the 214,000 students in HISD, the largest district in the state. In Northwest Houston, Sherman Chow, KHOU 11 News.
Thanks, Sherman. Prosecutors have released jarring details in a bizarre case of revenge online. Police say Tamantha Johnson of Houston posted an ad on Craigslist soliciting sex from married men using another woman's picture and phone number. Johnson thought the woman was having an affair with her husband. That woman insists she was not. Now we know what pushed that woman to reach out to police in the first place.
Someone had taken an ad up under her name with her image, as well as her phone number, and in one instance, a map to her location saying that she wanted to have sex with men, particularly married men.
The district attorney's office says she got about 100 text and phone calls from men who saw the ad, some who sent sexually explicit images. Police say they traced the post back to a computer at the Baylor College of Medicine. That's where Johnson worked. She is now charged with online impersonation, and she is expected in court tomorrow.
A Harris County Sheriff's deputy is recovering today after being shot in the arm last night by a man who was in handcuffs at the time. We told you about this at 10. A neighbor's surveillance camera captured what happened right after the shooting at a home on Kiplin's Way in northwest Harris County. You can see the deputy holding his arm and moving to safety. A short time later, other deputies helped evacuate another man who was living in the home, who was also shot. He was hit several times. Then, after a 3-hour SWAT standoff, deputies found the suspect dead upstairs inside the home. We talked to the family next door who watched it all.
I saw the police officer get shot, and I also saw my neighbor getting taken out of the house with the gunshot wounds as well. So it was very, very scary. Immediately, as soon as I heard the shots, I grabbed them and took them in the restroom, put them in the tub. We were in the restroom for probably 4 hours.
Neighbors say the man who shot the deputy was a disabled Army veteran who moved into that home a month ago. Deputies went there to investigate a disturbance.
A frightening scene near the West Loop today. Eyewitness cell phone video showing the moments before a man was shot and killed by police. It all started when an Exxon station was robbed at gunpoint. Matt Doherty has been at the scene. Matt, what have you learned for us?
Mia, apparently a long series of events happened that led up to the man getting shot and killed in this parking lot. But ultimately, police said he just wouldn't put down the gun. This work crew was busy digging a ditch near the West Loop this morning and looked up when they heard a crash.
He was in his car, and we heard the cops on the loudspeaker get out of the car, your hands up, and then he wasn't, he just got out and walked across the highway.
But before the wreck, before he got on the road, police say the suspect held up an Exxon station on South Post Oak. They say the clerk locked herself inside the store after he stole cash and beer, then fired at her through the glass. After the crash, witnesses say he walked around the campus of HCC, but not for long.
10 minutes, long enough to walk around here and over there. He wasn't stopping, so I guess they had to do what they had to do.
This cell phone video shows the foot pursuit, with police officers keeping a distance, weapons drawn.
No, we didn't see no gun. We just seen him walking. HPD had their gun, you know.
HPD Chief Art Acevedo says a lot more happened shortly before the suspect was shot.
He continued to display his firearm, pointed it at different people, including officers, refused commands. At a couple of points while he was trying to flee, he attempted to carjack innocent individuals that would pull up in their car, point the gun at them, trying to get them to stop and comply.
HCC was on lockdown throughout the incident. Lanes of the West Loop closed, funneling rush hour traffic to a crawl, the end to a Thursday morning that nobody could have predicted would have turned out like this. Now, police still haven't identified the suspect who was killed. They are saying that the lieutenant who shot and killed him is a 22-year veteran. He apparently is having a very hard time with the way things ended this morning as well. Mia, back to you.
It is a difficult situation. Matt Doherty, thanks so much.
All right, let's talk about the forecast. As David Paul promised, it was in the 70s today. Look at that, 74 now. But what seems like cold front number 100 is coming. David, how chilly? How long?
It's going to be in the 50s tomorrow, guys. It will be noticeably back to winter-like conditions by Houston standards tomorrow. Today, almost summer-like. It's 77 right now near downtown. We've had highs in places like Sugarland that got near 80 earlier this afternoon. But take a look. There's the front, the leading edge of the colder air. It's just to our north. You've got 50s and 40s back there in the Panhandle. So that's the chilly air that's on the way. It comes in overnight tonight. We may see a sprinkle overnight. And then after a mild evening, we're much cooler tomorrow. And then, of course, tomorrow is Groundhog Day. We'll talk more about the legend and the shadow and whether or not we get 6 more weeks of winter coming up in a few minutes.
All right, hopefully not. Thanks, David.